Good Sunday morning to you. At least it's Sunday morning right now where I am while I record this. Today I want to talk about, well, the old adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and how that is an absolute fallacy because this old dog is learning some new tricks this year. I have set a goal for 2025 that I'm roughly using a month, but I can go a little, that's my minimum, is 1 month of practice. And if I need more than a month, I will extend it into 2, 3 months, 6 weeks, something along those lines. But of learning a new habit. And they do also say another adage is it takes 21 days to learn a new habit. And in my experience, 21 years or so to break a bad habit. But that's another video. Anyway, not necessarily a habit, but a new skill. And in order to learn a new skill and get better at that new skill, then it needs to become a habit. It needs to become, for me, at least a daily practice. If I miss a day here and there, I'm not going to be mad at myself, but I try to make it a daily habit. And that could be 10 or 15 minutes, just so that I get into the practice of practicing every day. So every month or so, when I'm ready to move on to the next skill, I choose a new thing I want to try. For January, I decided to improve my yarn spinning skills, partly because I received those 2 raw fleeces over the holidays. And at some point this year, that's going to be an additional skill. I'm going to learn how to scour, pick, comb, clean, and then spin that wool. And that led me to realize I really needed to up my game when it comes to spinning yarn. And if you've been with me for a little while, you may remember that my sister gave me one of her wheels for my birthday 2 years ago. And I also had acquired a drop spindle from her. This is a handmade drop spindle that she decorated with wood burning and things. And I tried to teach myself using videos and using video chats with her to, watch what I was doing and try to learn a little bit better. And I was struggling. Then we got together for our sister's week up in the summer. She brought her wheel that's just like the wheel she gave me, and I got to practice a little more there. I had my drop spindle, so I got better. But then, of course, I put it aside as soon as I got home and did not go back to it because, life. So this winter, I decided that this is something I have to improve my skill. So a few minutes every day, I get out usually my drop spindle, and I keep it all in this little basket with my extra fluff and my spindle, and I can just grab it and sit and do a few wraps, a section of fiber or what have you, until and I'm getting better. I mean, this is real fine yarn. I haven't moved past my park and draft methods yet, because I'm trying to keep this nice and consistent and thin. So that was my January skill, and it has become a habit. My wheel is on the other side of this fireplace, in front of the fireplace on that side of the other room. And so when I'm watching TV, if I have a basket of fiber sitting next to it, I can do some spinning on the wheel as well, and I alternate back and forth. So now it's mid-February, and I've been working on that skill for a little over a month, and it's become a habit. I've got the muscle memory, so now I can pick it up, drop it, pick it up, with a few days in between and not really lose any ability. So that's been a win. February, I have chosen to try my hand at watercolor painting. I have all the watercolor supplies because I've gone down this rabbit hole before and not been very good at it, but I've also not practiced regularly. So if you would like to also add this, and it's, just because it's not January 1st anymore doesn't mean you can't start a new practice in the middle of February, or maybe you're not seeing this till later in the summer or something. Wherever you are today, this is your sign to maybe give this a shot. You can get inspiration and tutorials and lessons, of course, from many different places. Your typical online sources such as Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, Ravelry, if you're a knitter, crocheter, weaver kind of person. And if it's completely new to you and you have no idea even where to start, those are really good places to start. They can point you in the right direction. You can also take a class, lots of opportunities. Books are one of my favorite ways to be self-taught because I'm old and we didn't have YouTube when I was coming up, as the old people say. So I use a lot of books, and you can get books from your library. Get old books. Get old magazines. Go to estate sales. Find books and magazines there, because the basic skills haven't really changed for the most part in most crafts and art techniques. And then if it's also a brand new skill to you, then you may not have supplies. Now, this practice for me goes hand in hand with my destashing and decluttering efforts as well, and my no buy 25, which I'm not sticking to real tightly because I've been on no buy life since about 2021. So, but obviously I bought things because I have to get things. Anyway, how do you make those things you're trying to declutter or destash work with, I'm trying a new skill? Well, like I started to say, for me, this is part of that because I have these supplies and materials in my possession and they need to be used. So for me, I don't have to really go out and buy new stuff because that's part of the point, is to use the stuff I already have. But if you're not in that situation and you want to try something new, there are lots of sources for inexpensive to maybe even free supplies and materials, and potentially classes as well. Some of my favorite are estate sales. If you can find an estate sale of someone who, did arts, did crafts, did fiber arts, hit it hard, because we went to one last summer and she had a little bit of everything, and we came out of there, my sisters and I, with so much stuff, and especially books, tons of books. So that's a great source. And thrift stores are kind of related to that. That's a hit or miss depending on your area. If you're lucky enough to live somewhere that potentially has an art school or a college town that has a large art department, quite often there might be a used art supply store, kind of thrift store nearby, or in a larger metropolitan area. I know there's one in the Chicagoland area that my sister goes to occasionally, and the name of it is slipping my mind. So if I remember, I'll put it on the screen. And my daughter went to art school in Savannah, and there was also a great used art supply place there because all the students are required to take certain core art classes. And then if their major isn't related to that, they may have bought watercolor paints, they may have bought acrylics and oils, and all the things, and they're a writing major. And so they don't really need those after that first semester or what have you. So it's a great place to pick up I want to go back. I wish I had used it more when I was there, when she was there. But anyhow, also potentially your library. Quite a lot of libraries now are opening maker spaces and have lending libraries where you can borrow tools and supplies to try a new thing. And usually, quite often in correlation with that, they'll have classes. So that might be a good way to get started on something. And also, a great way is to find a friend who is also a crafty person, an artistic person, and my recommendation is find your ADHD crafty friend, because we have everything. Because we've tried it for a week, a month, a couple years, and then we put the things away in the closet. So that's your gold mine, I'm going to tell you right now. So if you're like me and you have a friend like me, the two of you get together and trade. And she was into spinning for a while, and she's got all this fiber, but I have a bunch of quilt fabric that I'm never going to use. So and she wants to take up quilting. We get together, we trade, or offer an energetic exchange of some kind of trade barter system, or buy it off of them. So those are some suggestions if you don't already have closets full of stuff that you need to use and want to try a new craft. Once you have your stuff and you know what you want to practice and you want to do it, you've got to make it easy for it to be a daily practice. So for me, that means having my stuff in some kind of portable thing. I've had this knitting basket for ages, but it's got lots of little pockets to put things in, but it's easy to move around, but it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it actually folds, which is kind of cool. So this, from week to week, day to day, month to month, can have my spinning supplies in it. It can have my English paper piecing supplies in it. It can have my slow stitching supplies in it. It might have all three at some point. It can have the latest yarn project in it. And I can move it from in here, if I want to sit in this lovely room and work for a little bit. It can go in the art room, the craft room, the sewing room, whatever the name of that room is, and I can sit in there and work on things. I can take it in next to the television, in front of the television, and work in the evenings. But it's all contained in one place for the most part, but we know how that is. It eventually grows, and it's mobile. And so this works well for me. Another way is to have like plastic totes or zipper bags or tote bags, and you put different projects in each bag, and whenever you're in the mood for that, you grab it. But I'm trying to not have 6 different things that I can grab at any time. But this month it's spinning, so this is my spinning bag. And then right now my watercolor is its own thing. Another suggestion, in addition to putting all of your supplies for any given craft or art medium that you want to use into baskets or bins or what have you to carry around with you or put next to your chair, is to create a specific spot that you can work on a regular basis, and you don't have to get everything out every day when you want to work. I just created this little corner in my back porch room for my watercolor painting. So I have all my watercolor supplies here, and it gets pretty good light in the morning. Plus I've added a task light here. And so when I have a few minutes or my dedicated work time, play time, I can sit down here and just paint a little bit for a few minutes every day. It really helps me to complete my goal of working a little bit every day on my new task of the month, or skill of the month, I guess is probably a better term for it. And when I'm done with my time of exploration in skill building watercolors, I can pack all this up and put it somewhere else and use this space for the next thing I want to work on. Other skills and practices that are on my list for 2025 are journaling and writing more, especially like creative writing or memoir writing. So if I have my laptop or my notebook and some nice pens and I leave them here, then when I'm working on that skill building practice, then I can have a space that I can come and sit for 10 minutes every day, 15 minutes, whatever it might be, and write. Or if I get, when I work on, move into journal making or book making, then I can convert this space into that area. And I think for me personally, that's going to work very well, because if it's out of, again, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And if I have to get everything out every time, I won't do it. But if it's right there, I will sit down for a few minutes and do it. And for me, for this kind of work, this is the perfect spot. There's no television in this room. This kind of work, or writing kind of work, is not something that I want to be distracted by having the television on. Maybe some music, that's fine, but I don't want my attention to be split. Now, for things like spinning and hand sewing, I do like to do those on the couch while I'm watching TV in the evening, because I can't just sit and do nothing. I always have to have something in my hands. So those I put into baskets and bins and put where I'm going to want to use them, or am easily able to grab them and put them there when I'm ready to work on them if I don't want the clutter in my sitting room. So that's an additional piece of advice that I have for you if you're trying to make something part of your personal practice on a daily basis, or at least a regular basis, is to have your supplies where you can quickly and easily sit down and work. Thank you for being with me today and hanging out and talking about developing some new skills and new crafts and new ideas, and how to work that into your daily schedule. And so come back, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can see if I stick with it, how I do, and how I progress, and maybe show and share some of the outcome of my skill building over the next few months. And I'd love to have you share that with me as well. So I hope to see you back, well, next week, and we will talk to you then. Peace out. Love you lots. Take care of yourself.